Today's video is going to be a real vital one if you're struggling to square the club face consistently at impact. We're going to be discussing the role of the lead wrist in the downswing. If you're struggling especially with leaving the face open like this, then I have the perfect drill and feel for you to be able to take to the golf course. So the role of the wrists in the downswing is a real key part to help us square that club face a little bit more consistently. And I'm going to be really focusing on this lead wrist, but I will discuss a little bit about this trail wrist, and I will put some links also in this video that are going to be relevant because different golfers will like different feels. One person may like the focus on the lead wrist, one may focus more onto the trail wrist there. Each their own as long as we're getting the right results. So what I was doing in that drill I showed you with the T-peg, pointing out the grip, or out the glove, sorry, was I was trying to get the feeling that my lead wrist was starting to point more down. If I just simply got my handle ahead of the golf club, which is what I want with an iron here, so tour average is 11 degrees of shaftly now, getting the handle forwards ahead of the golf club, and we need some of that to get that ball turf strike, compress the golf ball, deal off the golf club a little bit. So we do want our hands forwards, but those golfers just trying to push their hands forwards without this magic move of the lead wrist, you can see there we're going to struggle with a very open club face, which is what I got on that first shot. So the first one that I had hit, I had the club face 6.8 degrees open. So it was a good swing path, it was 4 degrees in to out, but I had the club face nearly 7 degrees open. That means it's another 3 degrees open compared to the path, and that ball started right and went further right of target. And that's where a lot of golfers are going to struggle if they are struggling with that lead wrist or the trail wrist into impact. They're going to struggle squaring the face. Often it's causing the big miss for a right-handed golfer out right of target. So what do we need to do as well as just getting our handle forwards? We need to feel like there is some rotation here of the wrist. So the lead wrist, the lead palm is effectively supinating. That means it's actually starting to point a little bit more up. So we're getting this movement. So it's not just handle forwards, but it's handle forwards and there is some wrist rotation here to help me square the club face. So what that means is the lead wrist is going to feel like it starts to point a little bit more down towards the floor, down towards the golf ball. And that's what I was simply doing with the T-peg exercise there in the back of the glove. Put it into the glove as best you can, and you're just going to use it there as a marker, as a pointer. You're just going to get that sensation that the T-peg is starting to point a little bit more down towards the floor, and you can see what that's helping me do is actually get that club face pointing a little bit more downwards towards the ground. At the last parallel position, I would love to see the leading edge of the golf club matching or mirroring my spine angle. What a lot of golfers get is that toe of the golf club up in the air, or maybe the club face pointing too far up. So at what point we get this happening, this movement of the lead wrist, won't matter too much. If you're someone who gets that movement a little bit earlier where the feeling is that the wrist is going to be pointing down, will effectively square the face a little sooner, and you can just feel like you hold off that shot through impact. You may feel like it wants to happen a little bit more here into impact. So from that last parallel position down, that my lead wrist is starting to point more down towards the ground. And that's helping me get that forward handle at impact, but also make sure I'm squaring the club face through that lead wrist movement. Now, we could focus on the trail hand, the trail wrist, and achieve the same result. When I get my lead wrist pointing a little bit more down, I'm also getting my trail wrist feeling like it's a little bit more on top, or my trail palm feeling like it's pointing a little bit more downwards towards the ground. So I could just do an exercise where I actually take my trail hand or open my trail hand up so the club is actually just running through the top of my fingers there. And I just do a little exercise, a little quarter swing, where I try and feel like my palm is pointing a little bit more down towards the ground. You can see that's really going to help me compress the golf ball as well. So we're actually getting that ball then turf strike, taking a little bit of loft off, and actually making sure, as I said, we compress the golf ball, pass a lot of energy from club to golf ball. So open my palm up, little quarter swing, and just get the sensation there that my trail palm, so for me, my right hand, is pointing more downwards towards the ground or a little bit more on top. That has the same effect as me focusing on the tee peg with this lead wrist. It's something to really get in there with some drills, with some exercises, but you'll know you're struggling if you're seeing that ball going out right of target for right-handed golfer, left for a left-handed, weak, high, losing some distance. Then we really need to try and get the sensation we're getting that lead wrist pointing a little bit more down. The other checkpoint you can use is get it on camera from down line and start to look at that club face position. If you've got the toe of the golf club up here and we know we're leaving the face open because the ball flight's telling us, then we definitely need more of this movement. Whether it is the focus of the lead wrist or the trail, I will leave up to you. So in the actual swing, I'm not going to focus as much on it. I'm just going to rehearse that move. So I'm going to get that sensation of the lead wrist pointing a little bit more down to help me square the face. So with that one there, started out right to target, but drew onto target. So I know that the club face was slightly open to the target, but closed compared to the path. That's what I really want to see for that little push, draw, flight. And you can see there very good distance with a 6-iron, so flew 181 and finished on target ultimately. So very, very happy with that. Let me hit one more, trying to get that same sensation, almost like I'm rolling the lead wrist down or feeling that trail wrist a little bit more on top. Not quite as nice a contact strike, lower ball flight, but another one down my target line. Definitely had a square or pretty square club face through impact. When you look at those two, they're starting quite close to target, they're finishing close to target, so I know I'm getting the face angle pretty good through impact. And that's my focus point, is onto that lead wrist. So make sure you give it a go. Let me know how you get on, put some comments below, and if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to my channel, at least 2 instructional videos a week.